Okay, well, we are live. Welcome to the Empowered Living Show. I'm with my guest, Michelle Copper. The Empowered Living Show is all about helping women learn to have, just the skills and the resources to be empowered and to feel like you're in charge of your own life, because you are. And so sometimes the tips that come from the guests that are on the show help you not only in your business, but also in your personal life. So becoming empowered really is about what Michelle's going to talk about today, is really stepping out and being seen and heard and feeling good about it, feeling, yes, like I got it. So that said, this show is every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time and 9 p.m. Eastern time. So join us. Go ahead and subscribe. And Maggie, maybe you could send the link to subscribe. It's Famana fan page. So I just want to share with you a little bit about...
Sent it out.
Great. Perfect. About my guest tonight, Michelle Copper. Michelle is a master business and performance coach, and she works intuitively while firmly grounded in business visibility, strategy, and coaching techniques to help coaches, healers, and experts speak up and be heard and get paid. And Michelle combines over 20 years of mentoring, coaching, and teaching, 2 decades as a business owner and entrepreneur, and a lifetime of personal development and performance craft to help clients heal their blocks and fears around being visible to 10 times their reach, client base, and income. And I love what she says. She says, I'm excited to empower as many voices to dare to be heard as possible. And I love lifting up savvy, gutsy, entrepreneurial women to bring ease, joy, and play back into their work through my magic formula. So Michelle's magic formula is poise, passion, and presence equals prosperity. And she's going to be talking about that today. So welcome, Michelle.
Woo! My favorite topic. Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here. I love the show and what you're building here, so I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yes, you are at the very beginning, the infancy of the program. So I'm really honored that you're here stepping in. So tell us about the art of being seen and heard, and why is it that people feel so judged? People feel very vulnerable being out there, being themselves. In fact, a lot of us don't even know who we are unless we go on that personal journey of personal development. And it's a forever long. It's not a stop. It doesn't stop, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I talk about being an entrepreneur as the transformational underbelly of personal growth. I think those of us who are drawn to be small business owners are really called to transform what is very natural and energetically powerful, which is to shrink. Yeah, and the reason, that's why I love working with entrepreneurs and small business owners, coaches and healers, because we are called to become visible ourselves, and by becoming visible ourselves, and we sometimes have to go through some process and clear and heal a lot of blocks and fears and be that audacious self, and by doing that, our presence, one of my favorite quotes is Marianne Williamson from Return to Love, and she's talking about, our presence automatically liberates. As we liberate our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. So how do we cultivate that presence? The first thing I think about is, that there's a myth that some people are just naturally outgoing and know how to talk about their work and feel great and empowered. And I've never met them. Yeah. I don't know if they exist. So I love to dispel that myth right away, and as a tool of permission for those of us who feel our heart rate pounding and starting to sweat and our mouth drying up. My mouth's even a little dry right now because we're at the beginning of something. And I love to talk about that, every performer, every time we are being seen, there is an awareness that we are being observed. And I talk about, Heisenberg's principle, and I am not a physicist, but this idea that molecules behave differently under observation, right? That's something about, there's quarks or something that you don't see unless you look for them. And that's just very validating for what I've seen is that we behave differently when we're being observed. And how do we cultivate permission, presence, that inner expertise and knowing, trusting ourselves while we are sharing in a public way. And for some people, that's maybe a Facebook post, not even video, here we are live, right? Or speaking on stages, or a simple networking introduction. I think everybody goes, okay, wait, what is my 30-second commercial? And so
what am I wearing, and how do I look, and
I'm not gonna be loud enough, and I'm gonna rush, and everybody's looking, and I just love to say that is, first of all, the most normal thing in the world. It's not something that's wrong with us, something that we have to overcome. That said, there are tools to navigate that. And the more we do it, the less that I talk about kind of stretching your container so that you can tolerate a little bit more. Okay, shallow breath's going to happen. My mouth's going to be a little dry, and give you some tools. And as you begin to, slow down the freak out, then you can, I'm going to see what happens if I stop talking for a minute. And I'm going to take a breath. Yeah, those kinds of things. So the first thing I always want to talk about is just kind of acknowledging the fact that everybody feels exposed when they're on stage. And then as we graduate into entrepreneur, we're selling on stage. Oh my God, that's a big visibility thing. Or, putting ourselves out in live streaming video now is huge, making videos to support our business being visible, our pictures everywhere. And so I'm riffing at this point, but why is that deer in the headlights moment so vulnerable? And I because it is, being watched. And so let's not make that wrong. Let's address what's going on and find ways to be empowered through it. And as we do it, we get less of the freak out. Yeah.
And that's, it's like you have to just do it. And I, these cliche sentences keep popping into my mind over the last couple of days. Like, just do it. You don't know it until you're, it's like all these things that people have said, they're true, but you don't understand them until you go through them yourself. And the only way to know them is to go through them. You have to.
Yeah, so I think that there's this magical combination of audacity. I love to talk about the ABCs of being seen and heard. And the first thing is to be authentic, audacious. I switched, I have several A's, but that authentic audacity, really big and out there. Be bold, right? And be courageous, have courage. And that's a pretty magical alchemy right there. And so, yes, we just have to do it and just go out there and do it. And yet having the tools and the support and the encouragement to take part, to give us some tools and some how to do that. That isn't just like shoving the baby on a bus. Okay, honey, time to go to school.
There you go.
Like learning how to kind of hold our hand about it and have really practical, concrete tools to navigate that first deer in the headlights moment. So that's what I love to focus on and help people with.
Yeah. So tell, did you have a question, Maggie?
Yeah.
No, not yet. I was just listening. Not yet.
Yeah. No,
I do have a question, but I'll wait for later.
Oh, tomorrow is my first speaking gig in a long time.
Nice. And
I have been extremely anxious, which is not like me. I'm not usually anxious. It's like, what is going on with you? But I think it's just, just stepping out that first time. And even though I feel a lot more comfortable with myself than I have ever really in the past. There's something about being able to be visible. It's a challenge it's like for me, it's a challenge to myself to get out there. And once you do it, it's a kind of exhilarating. You get that adrenaline rush. But also what's physically going on in your body when you're getting that adrenaline rush is the dry mouth and the heartbeat and the flushing and all of that stuff, which makes you more nervous.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with that?
Well, we've heard, you may be familiar, the lighting is changing here really quick. You may be familiar with, there's a lot of books right now on presence and how do we have presence. And there's a great TED Talk and now a book by Amy Cuddy who's talking about the physiology of presence and what is being present. And so one of her techniques is this idea of physically getting bigger. So going into the bathroom stall and really getting bigger. And we do expand our physiology that way. And then what I add to that is the element of voice. Because sound creates space. So I love to add, and maybe it's in your car before you get there, or maybe it's in your hotel room if you're brave, or your home, wherever you are, but to not only expand our physical body, and you can spread your legs and take up your, stretch your arms wide and really stretch your physicality wide, and that does change the brain chemistry. That's been, yogis have known this for a long time, but it does create new chemicals in your brain, and as does, and I don't have the science that she does, but I know that it's true, the sound of our voice. So if we add a long, loud sirening sound, which I can do for you, I won't do it as I can, but that sound, I talk about it in the sense of, if I have a physical body and it gets bigger and that changes my brain chemistry, well, I also have an energy body, and sound creates space. So I use this idea of sirening to actually help you create an energetic space around you. So it's another layer to the idea of my physiology being as big as it can. We take our sound and we can raise our vibration, literally, quite literally. So we just take a nice, deep, relaxed breath and go,
ooh,
a third of the volume.
Okay.
Okay. And it doesn't have to be super low or super high, but if we use that sound moving through us, and the goal is to really close our eyes and connect with the vibration of that sound, and it is very soothing, and it will ground you. I love to liken the, ancient wisdom of, the universe was born in sound, or I am the word and the word is God, or the Big Bang, these very ancient beliefs that connect to our sound. And so if we use our sound as a meditation and as a way to ground, it can be very transformative. So that's one of my favorite tools.
That's great. I love that, because I have done the japa meditation. So it's kind of similar to that, where you're feeling the vibration within you.
Yeah.
And that, I'm going to try that tomorrow.
Nice. Absolutely. Do it before you go. It'll change how you feel. Tell me if I get too dark. My sun is setting and it's getting weird. You're
light. So we have this fear when we step in front of people that we are not good enough. We're not as good as they are. We are, we're a little, maybe awkward because we like who we are, but are other people going to like who we are? And how do we, it's like we wear all these different masks. So how do you get authentic in front of people? I think a lot of people have that question. How do you become so comfortable with yourself that you are yourself in front of people?
Yeah, it's a good question.
That was my question.
Okay.
Yes, it is. That was my question, but I was waiting for her to answer it. So, but anyway, you asked.
Nice. I think that one of the first tools is to have the awareness that everybody feels that way. So we don't make ourselves wrong right away for feeling that way. And then I use a couple of different tools to empower people to trust and own their message. Some of it is just the information or some new ideas. So one idea that I would share with you is the idea of comparing your insides to other people's outsides.
Okay.
So I feel nervous and like I'm a fraud and nobody's going to believe me and everybody else is better than me, right? And everybody else is thinking that too.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right? Having a little reality check and remembering, okay, I'm not going to compare my insides to other people's outsides. Yeah. And then another thing we can do is, you know, I also say that the head is like a bad neighborhood. Don't go in alone. I didn't make that up. It's an anonymous, it's an anonymous idea, but it's true.
Yeah.
And then so this self-consciousness, the self-criticism, the self-judgment. Some of it is energetic blocks and fears that we can really clear a lot by doing, but also by becoming aware and maybe even working with someone to clear those blocks.
Absolutely.
Where were we? We're talking about how to be authentic in front of people. Mm-hmm. So the other tools that I use, these are some that really come from a performance toolkit, a performer's toolkit, are, you know, to remember who you're talking to, and to allow what you need to communicate, the help that you can give someone, the impact that you can make, the message that you have to share, and the people that you are helping to be more important than you. Yes. You know, that's how we do this at all. That's how we get out of bed in the morning. You know, that's how we show up and navigate the busyness and the audacity of saying, I'm here to help you do this. Yeah. Right? So there are a lot of different tools in that performer's toolkit that can help you focus on how you can help, who you can help, and focus on them. So when we're working one-on-one, or when we're even probably if you're in a teaching environment where you're teaching what you know and you've taught this before, there may be a little bit of like, okay, I'm in front of people, but once we settle into our work, then I believe for those of us purpose-driven entrepreneurs, we start to channel, and you know, we really are drawing in our wisdom and our expertise and all the stuff we know, and we're telling people, right? Mm-hmm. So if we focus on the impact that we're making and focus on helping and getting our message out, even if we're really nervous and our mouth is kind of dry and we forget and we check our notes 3 times, but we can go, okay, here's my notes. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. I'm nervous. This is cool, you guys. Check this out.
Right.
You know? A couple other little bits of inspiration to transition that deer in the headlights, I'm not worthy, inner critic, you know, that just crumbles our self-esteem. A couple of quotes that I love one is from Maya Angelou, and she talks about, I don't remember the exact quote, but she talks about people remembering how you make them feel.
Right.
Remember what you say, but remember how you make them feel. So focus on helping, focus on serving, focus on contribution, even if you're nervous. Yep, I'm going to be nervous. I may forget the words. I may say like, you know, or too many times. And those are all things you can work on. But to navigate first, letting that client be the priority. Yeah. And then we can get out of our own way. Yeah. And then another quote is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he says, who you are speaks so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. Right?
Yeah.
So those moments when you can stop and take a breath and remember your own integrity. You're not going through all this shit to like make a buck, right? You're going through all of this, like being in front of people, working so hard, getting your message out there because you have a mission, you have a message, you have a contribution to make. You're called to make that contribution. So as messy and imperfect as it is, let that contribution be like the child you'll stick up for.
Yeah,
you know
that's great. I love that. That's, you know, people say your why, and I really like the contribution. I love that word. Just for me, as it hits more in alignment with what's your why. It's like, what contribution are you making? important. Yeah.
One of my coaches and colleagues, she's a Clear Your Money Karma coach. I love her. Abby Rohr, she talks about your truest why, you know, and really helping people connect to that truest why. What is, and that's the brave stuff right there. If we're really willing to do that personal growth and that inner work like you were talking about, and sit with ourselves and be honest with ourselves about, well, if I could do anything, what would it be? You know? And I think that's a journey, and it can evolve. But that's a big, scary question. It's easier to go to the cubicle and get the check, you know. And that's not a bad thing. That's great for the people who that works for. That's beautiful.
Right.
But you know, for those of us who are like
driven, something is guiding me to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't.
Right.
Too much. It's a lot of work and a lot of growth. It's a lot of daring. And, you know, I'm grateful now to be in a place where the excitement of it is much more my experience than the fear. Yeah. Even though physiologically, fear and excitement, same stuff.
Yes.
The same brain chemicals, right?
Yep. It's just.
But now, you know, I'm rushing to get over here on time. I have a studio space, so I, you know, left the kids at home, which is a good thing to do. And, you know, and tried to get them some food, and had to finish 3 emails and process this and fix that, and, you know, all those things. But once I'm here, I'm like, oh, good. Now I get to do what I do. Yeah. And it's been a long journey for me of finding the permission and the audacity and the courage and the freedom from what other people will think.
That's,
you know,
the biggest thing is the
freedom. Haters gonna hate, right? Yeah. And, you know, allowing myself to be perfectly imperfect, allowing myself to make mistakes, allowing myself to say, hey, I don't know if that's true, you know, forgiving myself, figuring it out, coming back, and doing it again. So,
yeah.
Permission.
Yeah, no, those are really great points. I think what I try and remember is that we are all different for a reason. And that difference is what makes us who we are. Yeah. Because my whole long journey has been trying to be normal. When I'm not norm, I'm just me. Right. And so having gone through that whole thing of, well, I just want to be normal for forever, trying to fit in when I don't ever want to really fit in. I like to be me, but to say that out loud and to be that person out loud has been a huge journey. Yeah. Because, 5 years ago, I never would have, I mean, I would do speeches and stuff just to like, I dare myself to do that, but to be authentic and to be me, who I am, and not the professional speaker, you know, it is gutsy.
The wonderful, lovely secret is that when we learn how and are empowered and emboldened to drop into our authenticity, all of a sudden it gets easy. It gets free, it gets easy. We're not thinking about how to be good enough. We're not trying to remember those cool things we said last time. You know, it gets easy when there's a piece of surrender, and there's a piece of humility, and there's a whole lot of freedom in just showing up to the mat and saying, here we go. That's one of the reasons why I'm so thrilled to be here. It's an opportunity to show up and speak from my heart. And, you know, over time, with the skills that I've learned and developed, and I have, you know, really challenged myself to trust that, and to, I have the benefit of that experience. And so that gives me the power to help other people do it too. And that's thrilling. That's just thrilling. Yeah. So I can show up, I think, I don't know, I've been, and as I have arrived at a place of freedom and ease about sharing what I know from my heart to the world, and not disowning or disempowering, but owning how much the power of the work that I do and sharing it freely, I think I've gotten almost it's getting to where almost every day somebody asks me to share about it.
That's
Or
awesome.
I think the last 6 days, you included, I have had, hey, you want to be speak on this, you want to do that, and I just say yes, you know. And I wondered how to get that.
Thank you.
How do I, connect with people and tell them what I know? But it was the freedom and the ease and that audacious piece of owning and practicing and doing it again and feeling all those things and doing it again and getting support and all of the tools that I've had. But it's as we rest into it and allow our authenticity, like you're talking about, then the prosperity and the abundance comes to us.
Yeah.
We were talking about, how do we be authentic? And, you're the only you. And it's so true. And it made me think of another quote that I love from Martha Graham, who talks about, she's a famous dancer, choreographer. And she talks about there is a vitality, a quickening inside you that only exists inside of you. And if you don't express it, then it will go unheard. It will go unmanifested for all of eternity. And, each of us is a spark of the divine. And whether we believe it or not, it doesn't matter. And those of us who are waking up or who are called to it will can trust it, can surrender to it. And it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, no, I love what you're saying. I totally love what you're saying, because it's kind of what I've been going through. And there's a lot of women going through it. There's a lot of women waking up that need to be, that are wanting to just be more of who they came here to be.
Yeah.
And
heal. We're healing, not speaking up. We're healing our part in not being fully expressed. We're healing that. So that is our work. And every time one of us is brave, like the three of us right now, every person who's speaking their truth in any moment, one-on-one or live streaming or in anything in between, is changing, is raising the vibration, is healing the planet just a little bit, or maybe just a lot.
Yeah, no, I always wondered in the past, the last several years, I would think, how do people just, they say, have an opinion and don't be afraid to have an opinion. It's like, okay, well, what do I have an opinion about? I really don't have any opinion about what I'm writing. But it's not until you get to that place where stuff does come from within, where your wisdom comes out. Because when you're trying to share, like, my nutrition stuff, I know that stuff. That's what I do. That's my profession. That's not my wisdom. And
it's a tiny piece of it.
It's a tiny piece of it. When I get to share my wisdom, that's when it's freeing. That's when you don't have to think. That's when you don't have to remember the details. That's where I want to live, right? That's where it's fun.
Yeah. So maybe we can talk a little bit about how you do that.
Yes, please.
How do we do that? And so one of the things that I think my experience, we all have life and we do stuff. And some of the stuff that I've done is in training as a performer, and I've been an entrepreneur for a really long time. So these are my two worlds, kind of just, that's how I came to the realizations or the understandings that I happen to have. And one of the things that many entrepreneurs don't think about, small business owners, coaches, we're creating. A business is a creative process, and yet we don't always think of it that way. So just allowing for this idea that the business is a creative process, and then we can start to use tools that help, writer's block, or, all the different kinds of things that we come up in the creative process to grow our business. And so that is one thing I think really worth noting. But we also don't necessarily have time to think about the inner game, the process of how do I practice this part? How do I practice the visibility piece, right? Because I'm so busy planning the PowerPoint and booking the speaking gigs and, signing the clients and helping the clients and all of the minutia, right? So one thing I think that we really overlook is, I call them the 3 Ps, the 3 Ps to perfecting poised, passionate presence.
Yes.
I like to play with Ps. I can go on and on with my, is that alliteration? I think that's called. Okay, so preparation. How do we prepare? And part of that is that warm up that I was talking about, treating our whole body as the means through which we will communicate our message. And I also think that that includes, if we want to really connect to that wisdom piece, some sort of meditation, right? Some sort of prayer or going within and surrendering our ego on some level to say, guide me and let me make my contribution and help me help them, help me fulfill my purpose. Because that's going to feel good. Right. It's going to feel good to me to be connected to that, right? And yet it is, we're free from the bondage of self when we're serving, when we're helping and contributing. Yeah. But we don't think about how to prepare the actual event, right? Or prepare our, a lot of people are speaking and they don't know how to articulate their words, or their faces are kind of frozen. We're just not embodied humans by our culture. So having that as a value, as a tool, can be a meditation tool, can be a preparation tool to warm up and articulate our mouth and our sounds and the siren, our physical body warming up, getting big. Yeah, absolutely. Tongue twisters. Simple little things can really free up our presence, our essence to come through our words, instead of being focused in our heads and trying to get the thing of what we thought about to cross because we want to try and make our point. I'm trying to make my point so I can empower and really imprint. Even on video, I really do believe the ones and the zeros capture our essence and then bring any healing or ahas that are meant to come through. So preparing, we don't think about preparing our body to be seen.
Yeah.
And that can also be, finding your words, like, putting the word of your business name, putting your 30-second introduction, putting your catchphrases. My poised, passionate presence equals prosperity. It's kind of a tongue twister, and that's why I love to play with it. Yeah, so playing with those as teaching your mouth the choreography of the words allows you to find those words when you're in that deer in the headlights moment, right? So preparation, and then we talked a little bit about the actor tool of pretending. And, pretending can be, I love the tool of kind of going behind the eyes of someone who isn't nervous, someone whom we respect or admire. I love to say, what would Oprah do, right? She's like goddess energy. So going behind the eyes and saying, I want to be of service like that and help me connect to my message, and then pretending, that you have that same ownership is very powerful. We've all heard act as if. Yep. And, as entrepreneurs, if we're willing to welcome our creativity, our imagination is our most powerful tool, and we can, whatever we're pretending is a part of us. It's already in us,
so forward.
Yeah, and it can be a tool of permission to be a little bigger than we're used to, right? And then practicing. We don't think about how to practice, and we don't know how to practice, because just like, I'm going to try and memorize my script, right, is very limiting and cerebral. So practicing sending our energy out through the audience or out through the lens of the camera is really beautiful and empowering. Yeah. Those are my keys.
I love that. Yeah.
Practicing that first low breath that we're going to say before we speak, and practicing stopping talking and taking another breath. Yeah. So
and leaving enough time in your talk to allow for those breaths so that you're not feeding through it. Blah, 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 blah.
Totally. That is one of the things I work on all the time. I was just up at a mastermind with some friends, and we all did a 6-minute teaching opportunity, and I was like a fire hose. That was what they said. They were like, it was like hose of information, and it was fun, and they were excited. But I'm always working with, how can I, stop talking now?
Yeah, I talk very fast when I get excited, especially, and add excited to nervous,
right?
Faster. So. Yeah, I like those. I love those tips about, what was the last one you said? Sending energy. sending energy out to the audience?
Yeah, practicing sending intention. So one of the things that actors are trained to do is to kind of identify their intention, the character intention, and be very specific. So my intention, if my intention right now is to contribute to you and say, share what I know with people who it might help and to support your endeavor. And so that is what I'm sending. And there's a kinetic exchange between audience and performer, speaker,
Yes.
presenter.
Yes.
And if we know that, and we've gone through the nerves and we practice and we grow and we grow and we grow, there's a way to get to a point where I can focus on sending so much that it doesn't matter what I say.
Right, right. And that's when you get to that Oprah stage, the goddess stage,
Yes,
where you
goddess.
just walk on stage and people go, "You're amazing," right?
And it doesn't freak you out. You're just like, I am what I am. I'm here to contribute. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. This has been very, very interesting. Great tips
Yes.
that are not typical tips, which
Yeah.
I really appreciate. It's the combination of your performance background
Yeah.
and your yogi.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm steeped in business. I've been an entrepreneur forever, and I've done a ton of, I'm certified as business coach, and I have a business coach mentor who's amazing, and I do all these live events with him, and so I've been immersed in it, and it's really been exciting to have those two worlds start to merge into a way that I can have my big impact. And that's about helping people access their own essence and their daring and share it, go big. And it's supporting them to getting to the point where they can just do it, right? Helping them identify baby steps.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it makes my day. It's just the best thing ever. Helping people to go past their edges.
Yes.
Yay! Nice.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Helping her.
It's been, absolutely. Maggie's been my hero. She's been awesome on helping prepare this, helping me get connected with people, and just getting out there. And, for you, what was it that, you've been immersed in this so long, it might be hard for you to tell, but what was it that kind of what is your story that made you want to become empowered?
I think that there's definitely karma, the wounded healer. I think that I came in with that. And there are many ways where I tried to disown my light and disown my power. From young childhood, I was supported in my family, was, you can be anything. And there was a part of me that knew that, but it just didn't feel safe on a very, very core level. And I minimalize that into stage fright. At some point, I as a child was always drawn to performing, but painfully shy. Mm-hmm. And so shy that I would, get the solo in choir and I would weep because it couldn't be as good as I knew it would be because I thought I was too scared. So I shoved that part of me in a bag and said, I'll do this other thing that's not so scary, right? And it's been a series of that over again, trying to not do the scariest thing, and it's just not who I am. And I really feel today that I was kind of, the universe reached in and pulled me up, and said, "You're gonna live or die." And I had addiction and alcoholism. I had a recovery story pretty young, in my early 20s, and it was a choice to live or die. And because I knew I wanted to live, I had a very big spiritual awakening and an epiphany for years at a time. And that led me into a yoga practice and that spiritual philosophy and many, many others. And so when you surrender to the universe's intention for you, your highest intention for you, moment by moment and bit by bit, then your world changes and you go. It's a very potent thing. And so my journey went very early on after that particular awakening. I started having whole songs happen in my head. And I was traumatized to sing them, but I was like, I think I wrote a song, and I shared it with a friend, and she was like, if I could do that, I would do that. And I was like, oh, I don't think I can do that, because I was so scared and so filled with shame, and it's not good enough, and who am I? And I was led to a teacher and a healer, and I found a yoga practice that was all about humming and toning and sounding. And because of that awakening, I said, my job is to transcend my fear. I'm here on this planet to heal my fear, because healing my fear automatically allows my presence to heal others, to help others heal theirs. And I surrendered to that. And it really has taken me where I am. And, I went on to have a rock band in New York City and perform live music. And so a lot of my journey has been about sound and voice and finding and healing and owning my voice. That's why my business is called The Inspired Voice.
Love that too. Yeah.
It's about giving voice and bringing that into the entrepreneurial world and working with business owners. It's the same thing, but because I've had my own excavation, it's like my voice and my essence has been excavated kind of through the fire. I'm very well able to hold space for other people to have their own journey through that, and spare them a decade here and there. And help people transition into that empowerment. So I feel like, very guided and very much aware that, it's not me. It's something bigger than me. It's my higher me. And it's a privilege and a pleasure. So as I come into this work and helping more people, I feel that alignment and that power. But it's because of my personal journey. Everybody, you have your story, and your journey and the things you've transcended are how you help people. So.
Yeah,
that's the thing again.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think a lot of people have that shame, and that their stories of we all go through. We all have stuff. We all have stuff.
And we're all scared, and we're all shrinking to try and stay safe.
Yeah.
On the purest level, somebody said, I can't remember, it was my friend I can't remember who, but she was like, you're afraid, and you either do it or wait.
Yeah.
Like those are the choices. The fear may be there, but you're either going to do it or wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And our work in empowering people is about helping them do it and finding maybe the baby steps so that they get a little braver and a little stronger and a little bolder. And then pretty soon, one day, you're riding a bike, right? Instead of, put your seat down.
Yeah. No, that's so great. I love that. I love what you've shared with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me. I think this is the most in-depth I've gone into my own personal story, and had some good time here to play with you. So I love it.
No, it's been really fun. And we are going to have Michelle has a free gift for you. What's your?
I do.
Oh, what's it all about?
Well, I took, some of the stuff that we talked about here and created a way for you to kind of remember and hold on to those tools that we've covered, with some reminders about how you can activate your own poised, passionate presence, and created a little flyer for that. Not a flyer, a PowerPoint. Pages. I gave you pages. Reminders and information. Yeah. And
And where can people find you, Michelle?
Right now, the best way to get in touch with me is on Facebook. I have a group that you're welcome to join. I'd love to have you there, called Power Up Your Presence. Ooh. And that's a place to bring all of your challenges and questions and, oh, God, I have a presentation and I don't know what to wear. All of those details from one end to another of how you're challenged or how you're daring, to share and be big. And so we can support each other there. And I'm active in that group. I have a Facebook fan page, is The Inspired Voice Business Coaching. You can find me there too. I'm real active in that Facebook group. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. That's great. Now I do have one more question.
Okay.
I know a lot of people are thinking about that, about what you just said about
inspired voice.
the inspired voice.
Yeah.
So, what to wear?
Yeah.
Speak about that for a minute. Is it
okay?
Speak.
Yeah, I am going to give you the traditional theater on-camera answer, and I can tell you the why. If you're going to be on camera, don't wear black and don't wear white. You'll see people doing it all over the place. It does weird stuff to your skin. And being mindful of what's behind you so that you're not blending. But if you're speaking or presenting, the thoughts are, you know, bright, solid colors. And the reason why we don't do a lot of wild prints is that if we're speaking, if we're going to be on,
I like one.
Gabby, I didn't get that memo.
Well, but you'll understand when we talk about why. I mean, because we're so close in, I'm really getting your face and everything's really focused. But in the context of a larger room full of people or a video where more of you is showing, the solid colors pull the focus to your face. Right? And that's where our message is. And a lot of times we dress to distract from ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? So bright, solid colors are your friend. Go to your favorite department store, have your colors done, meet with a stylist, most empowering thing. I wish I did it in my 20s that I've ever done because, you know, that's not my thing. So that you have those, you know, certain outfits work. You don't have to think about it. Just eliminate the drama from that. But in general, bright, solid colors, and that's my big tip on what to wear.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's great. So what about if wearing like a bright colored top and black pants?
I think that's fine. What happens, you know, if you're on a stage with a black curtain or a dark blue curtain, then the pants kind of blend, and so you end up being like a floating torso. I mean, we're exaggerating, but that's the thinking behind it.
Right.
Contrasting to your background. And I think that sometimes people like to have a little, I mean, and I certainly wear prints. It depends on how I'm on or where I'm at. But when I'm working on camera in any way like we are now, I have my bright solid blue wrap shirt. It's comfortable. I don't have to think about it. It's one of my like 5 go-tos. You know, I just have that kind of figured out so that I don't have to have that. I spent a decade in Manhattan going to television commercial auditions, and I would do, you know, 20 in a week. I would audition a lot, and it was always about the shirt.
Really?
You know, like if I had the right shirt, then I would be okay, you know, and it was drama. So I'm all for having somebody come in and say, this looks great, and making sure that you feel great in it. Yeah. But finding those things that really work for you, that you feel like you look hot and rocking and empowered in, maybe a little bit bolder or brighter or more fitting or some, you know, a little bit edgy for you, because that vulnerability, when we allow that vulnerability, then it really gives us the audience that kinetic, like something's happening here.
Yeah, that's a great tip. That's a good tip. I love that tip. Thank you. Thank you for letting me pull all this out of you, Michelle. This has been wonderful.
Sure. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah.
And I look forward to watching your following grow and helping you get your work out in the world in the biggest possible way. That's what I'm here to do. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I'm so excited about your show. So thank you. And everybody, the information is in the chat to get in touch with Michelle. And we will be seeing everybody else on the replay.
Great.
Anything else? Any
last? I realized that I do have a URL to share with you. Should we put that in the chat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
put it in the chat.
I gotta find it. I have it.
You find the chat?
Okay. No, I don't know if I can find the chat or the URL. I did have it sent to me. Hang on.
Okay. Let me know. Is it www. What's the rest of it?
I don't have it. Can I post it later?
Yeah, actually,
Yes.
what you can do is we can put it with your free gift.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Yeah, we'll put it with your free gift.
Gift.
All the free gifts
Yeah.
are going to be in the Facebook group,
Okay, great.
Empowered Life. So they'll be in the let me get that Facebook group for you real quick.
Inspired, no, power up your presence. Power up your
That's
presence.
my favorite.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Power
and then Empowered Living Show.
Oh, you have a powered living show? You have a lot of shows, huh?
Ooh, no,
You're
this
busy.
is the Facebook group. So if you come into that Facebook group, then you get access to all the free gifts.
Awesome.
Yes. So
I'm
thank you for your time.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Both of you ladies. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
All right.
Nice
Have a
to meet
great
you,
night.
Michelle.
You too.
Bye.
Tracy.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.